do this first. We'll do this one. Yeah, and then hand me that one. You ready? Tell me when you're ready, one. Good, yeah.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming to the Township Committee meeting for March 22nd, 2022. I hereby announce that pursuant to Section 5 of the Open Public Meetings Act, that adequate notice of this meeting has been provided in the notice which was sent to the Asbury Park Press, the Two River Times, and posted on the bulletin board in Township Hall and filed in the Township Clerk's office on January 5th, 2022. Members of the public are advised that this meeting is being live streamed, and the recordings of this meeting, including public comments that are made, will be posted on the internet and are subject to production under the Open Public Records Act. Mayor Bontempo?
Here.
Mr. Santana?
Here.
Mr. Impreveduta is not with us this evening. Mr. Lucarelli is not with us this evening. Ms. Weber?
Here.
Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you, Wendy. Everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and please remain standing for a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Everyone please remain standing for a moment of silence. Honor our troops both home and abroad who work tirelessly to protect us each and every day. Thank you. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Holmdel Township Committee meeting, March 22nd. The first item on the agenda today has some special recognition for the Holmdel girls 6A Mid-Monmouth basketball team. I have actually a special proclamation. A special proclamation. So, the resolution, whereas this year the 2021 Holmdel Girls 6A Mid-Monmouth basketball team finished the regular season with an impressive 20-4 record, and whereas the team went on to win the Hoop Group Winter Tournament in December with a decisive win in the final game over rival team at Alpin. Good job, girls. Whereas in the final week of the regular season, Holmdel faced the top three teams in the Mid-Monmouth League and won all three games. Whereas the Holmdel ultimately won the 6th grade 2021-2022 Mid-Monmouth Championship, whereas these players were led, supported, and encouraged by their endeavors and success by Coach Ellen Flaherty, Julie Smigulski, and Mike Zaraga. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Mayor and Holmdel Township Committee of the Township of Holmdel on this 22nd day of March 2022 that congratulations be extended to the following players: Anika Gravior, Casey Zamet, Claire Gillespie, Daniel Bavaro, Josephine Colantoni, Layla Abuzlaman, May Flaherty, Peyton Zaraga, Quinn Smilgowski, Ryan Buchanan. Girls, coaches, please come up for your proclamation. Come on up here.
love their energy and giggles.
Are they here? Are they here? Oh, there. I have a second proclamation tonight. So earlier today, the clerk, assistant clerk, and myself were accompanied by the police officers and representatives from American Red Cross, and we are hanging the American Red Cross flag today in front of Town Hall in recognition of a special proclamation for them this evening. Whereas the American Red Cross is a humanitarian organization that provides aid, emergency assistance, disaster relief in the United States, and whereas former New Jersey educator Clara Barton founded the American chapter of the International Cross in 1881, and whereas for the past 140 years, the Red Cross has aided and provided hope to help people during the most difficult moments, and whereas nearly 90% of Red Cross workers are volunteers who carry out the work of the American Red Cross by giving blood, teaching first aid, and making donations. Whereas the American Red Cross is responsible for providing 45% of donated blood, training over 2 million CPR students, and responding to over 60,000 disasters annually. Now, therefore, that I, Gregory Von Temple, on behalf of the Holmdel Township Committee, do hereby proclaim March 22nd as American Red Cross Month in the Township of Holmdel, and urge all community members to become supportive of this great work of this organization, especially by answering the call to donate blood as they assist the communities in need around the United States. Further, the American Red Cross flag is being proudly flown on the township flagpoles adjacent to the United States flag and the flags of our armed services in recognition of this day. Congratulations, gentlemen from the American Red Cross. Please come up. Come on up, come on, let's do a picture.
Just a thought, we see today in the news the Ukrainian issues, right? The Red Cross started because of World War that was not even documented at the time between Napoleon and the Italians trying to make their independence. It was that idea that created. So the wars still exist, and the concept of Red Cross will be consistent as humanitarian care. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is for agenda items on tonight's agenda. We have consent agenda. Any public comments on agenda items? Maureen?
This is a public comment period that is limited to items that are on tonight's agenda, including the consent agenda and any introduction of ordinances. Public comments on ordinances for final adoption should be made during the designated public hearing period. In accordance with Resolution 2022-17, public commenters are asked to raise their hand and wait to be recognized by the mayor before coming forward and making public comments. Commenters are asked to state their full names and address before commenting. Public commenters are limited to one comment, not to exceed 3 minutes. Comments should be directed to the mayor and the township committee. If appropriate, the mayor may direct and recognize a staff employee or professional to respond to comments either at this meeting or in writing after this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Wendy. Any public comment on agenda items? Seeing that, I'll close public comment. First item on the agenda is consent agenda items. Council, are there any adjustments to the consent agenda?
No adjustments, Mayor. I'll offer the one resolution during my report.
Okay, okay. So consent agenda items 2022-94 through 2022-107. Do I have a motion?
Move.
Second.
Excuse me, Greg, I apologize. It's 2022-108. I did send an amended
Yeah,
agenda.
2020.
My calendar's 108. I apologize.
That's okay.
To 108.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Santana?
Yes.
Ms. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Bontempo?
Yes.
Okay, so resolutions 2022-94 to 2022-108 have been successfully passed.
Yes.
Thank you.
Next introduction for ordinances.
On this ordinance, this is an ordinance establishing certain nuisances. It's an ordinance that's recommended by the Holmdel Township Police Department. We had some late comments that we received at the end of last week that we wanted to reconcile with the Township Committee, so our thought is to recommend a motion to table this, and we'll bring it back at a future meeting with a couple of revisions.
Okay. Need a motion to table?
Move to table.
Second.
You need a roll call, Wendy?
Mr. Santana?
Yes.
Ms. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Bontempo?
Yes.
Okay, ordinance 2022-10 has been tabled for a further meeting.
Perfect. Thank you. For department updates, Administrator, any updates from you?
Just that, with the budget tonight, Bill's done a great job putting this together, and it's a really good budget for the town, and I want everybody to realize that. That's all I have right now. Thank you.
Thank you. So, CFO, I'll turn it over to you.
But thank you, Mayor. We have 3 items on tonight's agenda. First is the public hearing on the budget. Secondly will be a resolution to amend the budget. We did get the final contract for the Monmouth County 911, and it's about $180 more than we anticipated, so we do have to move money into that line item. And a third item, if the governing body so chooses, will be to adopt the 2022 budget. So if you would like to open it up to the public for any questions or comments on the budget.
So, any questions, comments about, Deputy Mayor, did someone from the Finance Committee want to make a statement?
Yes. The chair of the Finance
Okay.
Committee would like to read a statement.
It may not be on. Is it on? Ben, could you check if it's on, please? It didn't sound like it. Okay, there it is, yep.
Very good. Dr. Zachary Gilstein, 11 Chardonnay Drive. I'm here to speak on behalf of the Holmdel Finance Advisory Committee. Excuse me. The members with me are Jerry Buffalino, Rick Larrabee, Eric Silvergold, Deepak Kumar, Prakash Santana is our liaison, Bill Antonides, and Tom Henshaw also participate with us. And let me make sure I didn't leave anybody out. I think I got everybody. The Holmdel Finance Advisory Committee reviewed the 2022 budget in detail, including a number of clarifications that were provided by CFO Bill Antonides. We believe the 2022 budget is a sound presentation of the expected revenues and appropriations in 2022. We appreciate the excellent work done in proactively seeking opportunities for cost savings, such as the $650,000 realized by switching to the state health benefits for group insurance and outsourcing court administration to Colts Neck. We understand that budget appropriations are rising by 9.9% in 2022, primarily as a result of converting short-term notes into serial bonds and increasing capital improvements. We recognize that rising pilot revenues and a higher surplus contribution has enabled the township to offset increased costs and slightly reduce the amount to be raised by taxes in support of the municipal budget in 2022. Of course, the township administrative budget only accounts for 17% of the property tax bill. The committee believes that the township should carefully monitor and control future expenditure levels to ensure that future appropriations do not outpace revenue growth. We are concerned that the costs of recycling are projected to increase by 25%. Reportedly, this is a direct result of a reduction in demand for recycling material, particularly from China. This is neither healthy for the environment nor for our finances. Roughly $735,000 of the $1.7 million Open Space Trust Fund has been identified for future use. The committee recommends that a plan be developed to articulate precisely what this money will be used for. The committee believes, consistent with the referendum approved last November, that a significant portion of it should be reserved exclusively for future acquisitions of open space. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Zach.
Anybody else from the public on the budget for the CFO? Yes, sir.
J. Yanello, 18 Ladwood Drive. Should we be puzzled or concerned that Mr. Lucarelli and Mr. Impreveduto are not here to vote on the budget? Because, and the reason I ask is I have no idea. It could be cool. I have no idea where they are, whether, you know, but I just don't want to see a, you know, turmoil down the road when people are pointing, we didn't like this in the budget, we weren't there, we didn't approve that, and it becomes a big political mess. So is it worth waiting for them to be here to vote on the budget? And I'm asking that with the most open, I have no idea. I think most people would rather the whole committee vote on the budget. Am I wrong?
I think that I think to the administrator's earlier comments that that this budget started at the beginning of the year with Sharon and Bill. They did a great job. They were able to, in the presentations we've done previously, be able to do things at enhancements to the town, from the swim club to DPW to public safety, and Bill keeping the tax rate flat is an amazing accomplishment. So I can't think of a better budget to put forward. So I would be in favor of unanimously seeing this thing projected, but I can't control everyone's schedule. So I felt important as the other two, the deputy mayor and the committee woman, to make sure that this budget gets done, because the challenges with potentially delaying it, and I hear what you're saying, is that we're delaying the projects for the town, and ultimately the residents suffer if this budget isn't passed immediately, because it was a lot of work to get it done. It's March 22nd, and we're pretty aggressive, right, Bill, in our time frame and our schedule, but it gives time for the 20-day period to pass and be able to start getting our RFPs out, so we can start getting bids and start doing the things that we need to do ultimately to take care of the residents in the town.
So the tax rate is flat? Yeah. Would you like to share anything that might be would you like to share anything that might be controversial potentially with them? Or am I out in right field?
Excuse me. This budget, even though it went up, it costs a little more. The tax rate is flat, so you have a stable tax base again this year. We have a lot of projects that are waiting on the budget to be adopted tonight that will affect what goes on this summer as far as recreation and the Public Works Department. And if there was something controversial in here, believe me, we would probably hold on to it, but there's nothing controversial in this budget whatsoever, and we really need to get it passed tonight.
I've just seen too much over the past decade here to just think it's going to be that smooth, but I hope so. Thank you.
Mayor, can I just add, we're clearly in inflationary times right now. So the quicker we can move, and we also have supply chain issues like everybody else, right? And I think it's prudent that we don't hold, a budget hostage, that we just move on it and get going.
Anybody else from the public on the budget for this evening? Seeing none, I'll close the public portion. Bill, anything else you need to add for this?
No, all we have to do is just pass the amendment, and then we can adopt the budget.
Okay. So you need a motion on this, Wendy?
Yeah, we need
The
a motion.
amendment is 2022-109. I'm sorry, Wendy.
New motion.
Move.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Mr. Santana?
Yes.
Ms. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Bontempo?
Yes.
Okay. Resolution 2022-109 has been successfully passed. The next resolution is a resolution approving the adoption of the 2022 municipal budget, which is Resolution 2022-110.
Move.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Mr. Santana?
Yes.
Ms. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Bontempo?
Yes.
Okay. 2022-110 has been successfully passed. Thank you.
Thank you. See if anything else from you tonight?
Nothing else tonight, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Great job, Bill.
Good
again.
job, Bill.
Really. Amazing. Counselor, any updates from you?
Sure. Good evening, Mayor. Just one item related to legal. We obviously can't discuss the merits of litigation here in public, but an action is proposed with respect to litigation. We'll number it Resolution 2022-111, captions Resolution awarding professional services contract to Potter and Dixon to perform legal services in the total amount not to exceed $52,500.
Move.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Mr. Santana?
Yes.
Ms. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Bontempo?
Yes.
Okay. Resolution 2022-111 has been successfully passed.
Thank you, Wendy.
Thank you.
Anything else, Counselor?
Nope, no other items, but happy to answer any questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Engineer Ben, I'll flip over to you. I think you're putting your PowerPoint together?
Yes, thank you, Mayor.
Okay.
I apologize, my computer that I brought did not accept the HDMI cable here, so I have to borrow Bill's.
So, Ben, you're going to touch on two things, correct? Is that one on? No.
that one's black.
So you're going to cover first what, Ben?
So I'm talking about the Tabs bike route
Okay.
today.
Yep. This is for you.
Okay. Good evening, everyone.
Keep the mic close because it's not really picking up well. Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Better, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So thank you for allowing me to present this tonight. We're here to talk about the Tabs Committee bike route. Let's see. Not moving. Hold on. All right, I'll just do them manually.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so first thing we look at are the township needs. It's been discussed several times by the committee that expanding open space is one of the top priorities. So we look to create connectivity between locations of interest. Connectivity you have with your roads, but not necessarily with your bike paths, trails, bike lanes. So we want to improve multimodal transportation throughout town. We've realized this more now than ever because of the pandemic. You have residents that are using the parks more, and that's something that we're all realizing. So what are the locations of interest? This is by no means a comprehensive list, but we are focusing on Holmdel Park, Cross Farm Park, Bayonet Farm, Reminiscent Trail, F&F Nursery, and then you have Holmdel High School, Village Elementary School, Thompson Park, and Bell Works. And connecting these trails and parks creates an opportunity for recreation all over town. It allows, people to get from place to place without having to get in the car. Kids can walk to these places or ride their bikes. It provides safe routes for students to travel to and from school in some cases. So we turn to the TAPS committee. They were established in 2020 to advise the township committee. Their goal is bicycle and pedestrian safety, working to make Holmdel a bike and pedestrian friendly town, fostering the construction and preservation of bikeway trails, and improving the connectivity, safety, and accessibility of non-motorized and motorized networks in an infrastructure for people of all ages and abilities. This is what they came up with. I've worked with Committeewoman Weber a few times to come up with a plan for this. A Monmouth County Open Space Grant was recommended by the TAPS committee, so the township applied. I did a very small part of the actual application process. I provided a concept plan and a cost estimate, and the TAPS committee and the township, Barbara in particular, did an excellent job, got a grant awarded. There were several iterations of the bike route, which I'll get to in a minute, but the objective is to construct a bike route connecting the high school to Cross Farm Park. That was our first step. We looked at how are we going to do this. We'll utilize available funding. We will probably look for additional funding in the future, and we'll create an expansive network of bike routes and paths throughout the township. So the overall route utilizes existing township land. We're using right-of-way to put bike routes on the road with either bike lanes, dedicated bike lanes, or share the road, sharrows. And then we're also using township property. You have F&F Nursery, Bayonet Farm. There's also, Board of Ed property potential to be used. And we had, like I said, a few iterations of the bike route. We have, it's a multicolored map you see here. So there were a couple different options that we looked at. The bike route actually would consist of excavating a small section, putting down a layer of filter fabric, constructing it with a base and a stone dust surface. We're not paving the bike route. We want to keep it pervious. It's, I think, more consistent with the nature of the township, and it matches existing bike routes that have already been constructed. We wanted to model this after Monmouth County projects that have been completed. You have a couple of county parks in town. This is from Wolf Hill Recreation Area in Oceanport. So you can see there the excavated and then the finished product. So phase one is what we're on right now. We've got a grant from Monmouth County Open Space, $114,000. That's a matching grant. And we'll look to install a bike route through the F&F Farm property, starting at Holmdel High School and ending at Roberts Road. We'll look to do some minor amenities, possibly benches or bike racks along the way, wayfinding signage will over time, be mode of connecting the town with your different parks. The end of phase 1 is going to be where we pick up phase 2. We'll, as you saw on the previous slide, when I go back to the overall, you can see at the top of the screen there is where F&F Farms is. So this is a small first step, but it's a step in the right direction. We'll use the Bell Works roadway system, which already has some bike lanes, so we can utilize that to our advantage and continue on from there and construct it as we need to. This will probably be a multi-year phased project, but we're excited to get phase 1 moving. One of the things that we are working on right now is we're looking at potential permitting and getting this first phase up and running. You've got the Hop Brook that's right there, which is a regulated feature. So we're working with the state DEP to make sure that we can comply with their permit requirements or possibly avoid them. You never know. But if there are any questions from the committee, I'd be happy to answer them.
I'd just like to make some comments. I've been the liaison to the TABS committee, and I want to thank Ben. I want to thank Officer Minoski, who has been instrumental in this, and I want to thank all the members of the committee, whose names I don't have right now, but the current chair in particular, Patrick Castany and Barbara Kowaleski, who worked really hard on the grant to do this. I would also like to say one of the bonuses of this path, if you will, and part of what instigated the idea is the Monmouth County Park System did a strategic plan, and in that plan they highlighted their objective to connect the county parks of Holmdel Park, Thompson Park, and then Big Brook or Bear, I always call it the wrong thing, Brook, and Big Brook. And what this path will ultimately do is help them with one key element of that in connecting Holmdel and Thompson Park. Because once you get to Cross Farm, there's already a crosswalk right to Thompson Park. That would create from the top of this trail to Cross Farm is about 4.5 miles. Don't hold me to it, right, Ben? And then you have a 5-mile loop at Thompson to boot. So if people are looking for those longer bike rides, longer runs, this could provide a real nice end-to-end and some loop. The other thing I want to clarify is, we've been referring to it as a bike trail, but it's really a multi-use trail. We will have walkers, joggers, strollers. Somebody asked me about horses. I don't know if that's good for their hooves, the quarry stone or not. But the objective is that it's a multi-use trail for people to get out and about, and also to get people off the roads. So you may have seen, if you're following our public information on social media, there's a new state law. I believe the nickname is like Safe for to Pass or For Safe to Pass, that you need to allow 4 feet of space if you're a driver of a car from any pedestrian or bicyclist on the road. And you need to actually move over, or if that is not safe to do, slow down to 25 miles an hour until it is safe to pass them with care. So what this will allow us to do is, get more pedestrians and bicyclists off the major highways by giving them access trails that people can hike and walk on, which is something, we were unique in keeping all of our parks open during the pandemic, and the demand for places to just walk and be out in nature was overwhelming. And the interesting thing about that is that demand has continued. So I think this is just a real feather in Holmdel's cap, and something that is going to bring all sorts of benefits in time to come. And I look forward to using it, and thank you for getting it going, Ben.
Yeah, Ben, I'd like to echo what committee woman said. I wanted you to do this publicly tonight because I want the public to know the work that TABS committee put into this project and where we're at in the process, and it's moving along, and kind of envision a game plan, because you know there are a lot of people that are still buying bikes now, even post-pandemic, because they like what was happening, and what the committee woman said was correct. We had doctors reaching out and thanking for keeping our parks open, because they said that, you know, the mental aspect of being able to get out of your house and do things could be as bad as the physical aspect of what was going on in the last 2 years. So this is a great project. I'm really excited about it. Can't wait for it to happen, and appreciate you presenting it to to us and to the public this evening. Anything? You good?
Sure. My update?
No, just anything on.
Oh, no, nothing else.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks. Anything else do you have, Ben?
No, that's it.
So would you mind just touching on New Jersey Transit, just to kind of update the public here tonight about what's going on? For those of you that may not be aware, our Laurel Avenue Bridge was struck by a concrete truck that I think the chief of police said it's the kind that they use on highways to really, with a lot of booms on it to get apparatus across, and it struck the railway bridge at an excessive speed and did significant damage to the bridge. So Ben, would you mind touching on that?
Yes. So this is on South Laurel Avenue. It's a very low bridge. The county has been working on a large-scale project, and in the interim, they are doing some signage improvements. Right now, they are in the process of installing some signage, advanced warning signage, better warning signage, to prevent this from happening again. So while that is going on, they're also in the process of trying to come up with a plan to raise the bridge, which is a multi-year, very expensive, very complicated project, and that's in the works as well. Because of the accident, the New Jersey Transit line was damaged as well. New Jersey Transit had to close one of the two rails that was on that bridge, and they have been scrambling to try to come up with some repairs that need to be made. I have a meeting with New Jersey Transit tomorrow, and I'll get some more information from them on exactly what the repairs are, how long it's going to take, things like that. But they did say that it will require the road to be shut down for several months to do the repairs. So at your request, we'll provide as much information as we can, post it on the township website. I'll work with your administrator and his team to make sure that information is made public, so that everybody's aware.
So a couple important things that the engineer just said. One is there was so much damage to the bridge that there's two tracks up there. Only one is able to be used right now because of damage. Two is that transit is going to be closing down the road for many months to do the repairs to the bridge. So we will communicate out to the public when it's going to happen, but that is a major thoroughfare for a lot of people to get, to 35 out of 35. So it's going to cause a lot of angst, especially for school buses, which use that route daily for schools, not only Holmdel, but Middletown as well, because they're right on the other side of the road. So it's going to affect a lot. This one accident is going to affect a lot of people for many, many months. We just don't have the specifics yet. We're just notified that it's coming, and as Ben alluded to, he's going to be in a meeting tomorrow with our police and administration here, just to get some of the details of what's happening.
That's correct.
I was just going to say, to that end, Ben, I don't know the timeframes on when they're thinking of starting this project. These things always seem to take longer. But if they could do it in the summer, I think that would be preferable because of the school bus situation. So if you want to just raise that issue with them, that would be helpful.
I will pass that along.
Thank you. Thank you, Ben. Thanks for covering that as well this evening. Cool. No other professionals. I'll roll right to updates from the boards and committees. Deputy Mayor, how about I start with you
All
this
right.
evening?
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mayor. So first, I'd like to thank the chair of our Finance Committee, Dr. Gilstein, and the members of the Finance Committee, Eric Silvergold, Jerry Buffalino, Rick Larrabee, and Deepak Kumar, for doing an excellent job sitting through with Bill at the last Finance Committee meeting last Tuesday and poring over our budget, making sure we're doing the right things. So a couple of key points about the budget. First, we have a very healthy reserve. It's over $5 million approximately, right, Bill? So that's a healthy reserve, and it's extremely important for us to maintain that reserve to preserve our AAA rating. So you folks have to keep an eye out every time we pass the budget to make sure that we maintain that healthy reserve and not eat into it. So that's important. That's the first one. Second, this budget includes principal and interest payments for the $8 million bond that we bonded, which in my opinion, others can confirm this, is the largest bonding we've ever done for capital improvements. That includes roads, that includes the swim club, and a host of other things that were not attended to for many, many years. So we did it at the right time. So if in the event, obviously we know that the interest rates are going to go up, and it's going to help the town save a lot of money by doing it now versus doing it later. So I just want to point that out and say that Bill, and of course Sharon and Bill, had done an excellent job in meeting with the various departments and creating an excellent budget, not to mention the adequate salary increases that are part of the budget that will keep our talented employees in this town. So thank you again, Bill, for an excellent job, and thanks to the Finance Committee as well. So that's my first. The second update is on emergency management services. The first one, as the mayor mentioned, Laurel Avenue is going to be closed for several months. The Holmdel Police is meeting with the members of the New Jersey Transit, Monmouth County, and the Middletown Police Department tomorrow to discuss road closure and other detours. Let's see. The Citizens Police Academy. We are currently halfway through the Citizens Police Academy. We've completed 5 of the scheduled 10 weeks. Our attendees have received an overview of the police department and township and a review of our patrol and communications practices. They also received a night of training on our detective bureau, specialized units such as K9, SWAT, and traffic safety. And last week, the attendees received a presentation from the Holmdel Fire Department and the Office of Emergency Management. The next 5 weeks of training will include a night with our first aid, along with lessons from our department on firearm safety and the use of force training, which will culminate in a night at the Monmouth County Police Academy simulator training, which will allow our attendees to utilize some of the training they have received to put themselves in our officers' shoes and attempt to handle some police calls for service. Last item, a new automated license plate reader has been installed and is placed into service. The unit is vehicle mounted and will assist officers in identifying stolen vehicles, traffic enforcement, and aid in criminal investigations. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Committeewoman, any updates from you?
Yes, I just have some recreation updates. The Spring Fling daughter and Spring Fling son dances were highly successful and back in person with 239 daughters participating and 167 sons. My favorite one, the Swim Club registration opened, and in day 1 we had 100 families join. So if you're thinking of joining the swim club, I would encourage you to do it sooner rather than later. We could actually max out capacity this year because we had such a great year last year. There's the swim club membership, swim lessons, a swim team, and a dive team. Mayor, you'll speak about community cleanup, I'm assuming?
Yes.
Okay. The Hippity Hop Egg Hunt, just to show you the demand for things in Holmdel, is sold out with 300 kids on April 9th at Cross Farm. And summer camp registration opens Monday, March 28th. So again, hop on it. And karate and snapology classes will be available soon. We also, at our rec committee, got an update from Pete Reddy on the Board of Ed, and they're working on the turf field project, which is now going to be moved behind Sat School, not to the side of Sat School because of environmental concerns, but they're moving forward on that. And Holmdel Theater and HYA are both in full swing, and lots of activities happening on all fronts.
Thank you. So I'd like to just reiterate what you said. So the daughter and son spring fling dances this past weekend were a huge success. I was there Saturday night with the daughters, and then Sunday afternoon with the sons. Team of jocks did an amazing job hosting the event. Our rec department, Bob, Lori, Allison did an amazing job, and actually Deb stopped in on Sunday just to. I think she couldn't stay away from, even though she retired recently, from the event. It was really nice, and I think it's my comments there were, I think it's important to hold events like this in the town because in a world where there's so much digital screen time with kids, sometimes you need events like this to kind of connect with the families and let the dads spend time with the daughters and the moms with the sons. The rec does such a nice job. Everyone gets a picture taken when they come in. And this year, prior years, I used to, print them out. So by the end of the night, you'd leave with the picture. Now everything's digital, so they take a lot more pictures. You scan the QR code, and then you could see them that night. You can download the pictures you want of you, your friends, and great feedback. Really well attended, and the rec department really did a nice job hosting both events. Second is the Red Cross Month, as I mentioned at the beginning of the meeting. Issued the proclamation earlier declaring this to be Red Cross Month. I was present today when we raised the red flag, the American Red Cross flag in front of Town Hall. It's going to remain there for the remainder of the month. And the whole purpose really is to really to inform our residents about ways in which if you want to volunteer, you can volunteer with the Red Cross. The gentlemen who were out here earlier with myself and Wendy and Brian, the chief, were said that there's so much going on in this town, and said it's amazing how many people volunteer already in the Red Cross in Holmdel, but they could use more help. And blood is at a shortage, and they're trying to do everything they can to raise awareness and get people involved. So that was nice of them to come out and support, and also kind of represent that so many people are spending time and getting involved. This Saturday morning from 9 to noon is the Mayor's Community Cleanup. We're going to be meeting at the community center, which is right next door to Town Hall. We need volunteers. We did a mass communication out to residents through our rec department. They reached out to the schools, high school, SATs, out to the scouts. No registration required. The president of Bayshore Medical Center sent out a email blast to their employees. Bell Works sent it out to their all their tenants and their followers on Instagram and Facebook. So anybody can come, residents, neighbors, friends, check in at the table. The township will provide volunteers with T-shirts and gloves. If you're volunteering part of a school group or a community organization, if you want to wear shirts to identify your company or your business, you're welcome to do that. We're going to take pictures and post them on our site and put things in a newsletter. Volunteers are going to be dispatched at locations around Holmdel Township. We're picking up trash and litter from public areas. Last year we had dozens upon dozens of people turn out to volunteer. It was a very successful program. We've been encouraging local businesses to get involved because we hear local businesses say they like to get involved in the community, not just come here to work, but come here to support the community. So we're expecting some people to come out. If people want to get involved, they can reach out to Bob Ward in our Recreation Department. It's R Ward, RWARD, at holmdeltownship.com. And Bob can give you information on this event, how you can get involved, what you could do. We have people donating for things for the volunteers. It's really nice. And there's, you know, within Holmdel, I like to say, there's no place like Holmdel, and this really helps keep the town clean. You know, we probably have a list of almost a dozen sites already, from anywhere from the, right by the PNC, by the Turnpike area, Middletown Road, by Bayonet Farms, which I know we just cleaned a few months, seems like a few months ago, but it seems to collect a lot of trash over there. Police are out with us, so you know, for safety reasons, police will close roads when the volunteers are there to make sure that there's no high-speed cars going by and that the volunteers are safe. We're going to go by Ackerson Park, we're going to go by Alaco Park, over by Middle Road, the Neil Wackak Reserve area, Plum Lane, Centerville, Crawford's Corner, Bayberry, Shank Road. We're going to have people all over the town. So the more volunteers, the better. And it's only a short window to do this event in. It's been an amazing, probably overwhelming outpouring we've got for the Ukraine aid drive. Alice McLeod, who I saw here for a second, right, Wendy? She popped in?
Yeah, she was going to take a picture.
Okay. She's up in HR. She did with the administrator, did an amazing job helping coordinate this entire project. We started collecting supplies, I guess, a day after our last meeting, so that was about probably the 9th. We're going through tomorrow. It ends, and just give you an idea of the amount we have. An entire room in the basement that are filled with supplies, like an entire room. Like I thought we were going to do well. We've done more than well. And all these supplies are going out to the people in Ukraine who are suffering through the conflict that they're going through right now. If you watching, sharing information, if you're thinking about doing it, tomorrow's the last day. We can't extend it. We have a timeline to get all the supplies wrapped up into the shipper because we need to get them over to where they belong. So we got a really short timeline on getting this over. The entire township committee has been great supporting this, getting the word out. The Holmdel residents, I mean, we have people coming up with boxes and boxes of Band-Aids and ACE bandages and antibiotic creams, and it's really been overwhelming. In fact, when I chatted with Allison just the other day, I said, "You sure we're doing enough?" She said, "We actually had to go out and buy more extra boxes just to be able to pack all these supplies and just to be able to get them over there." So it's been a remarkable response, as always with this community. It's really been outstanding. So that'll be wrapped up tomorrow and then shipped out immediately over to Ukraine. And I think that is it from the updates. So what updates? Anything else I missed? Okay. Wendy?
Next is public comment. In accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, this is a public comment period for public comment on any governmental issue of public concern. In accordance with Resolution 2022-17, public commenters are asked to raise their hand and wait to be recognized by the mayor before coming forward and making public comments. Commenters are asked to state their full name and address before commenting. Public commenters are limited to one comment, not to exceed 3 minutes. Comments should be directed to the mayor and township committee. If appropriate, the mayor may direct and recognize a staff employee or professional to respond to comments either at this meeting or in writing after this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Wendy. So we'll go public comment. Anybody have any public? This is the comment section. Raise your hand. You'll be called up. As the clerk said, you state your name and address. And you have up to 3 minutes. Anybody public comment? In the back, sir? In the back.
How you doing? Steve Draymond, 26 Hawthorne Avenue. The last meeting we had talked about the ISO rating and possibly having Lincroft Fire Company and Earl come in mutual aid automatic to the south end of town because, you know, the coverage over there still needs to be satisfied for that, which I think is a good move. How long would that be for? Do you plan on staffing the south side of town with more Holmdel firemen, as well as, it's definitely gonna cost money to do that, to ask for that coverage. And do you plan on taking that money and focusing on getting more Holmdel firemen to staff the south side of Holmdel?
Is that all your questions, sir?
That's it, I'm done.
Okay.
I can go sit down.
Thank you, thank you. No, we'll try to address what we can right now. You want to touch on?
Yeah, sure. So we've actually discussed this at length with the fire company folks and Lieutenant DRC on this, and there are a lot of issues in terms of staffing on the south side of town, and that's why we're looking at the option of sharing, doing some kind of partnership with Lincroft and Earl. So let's do this first, and then see how best to beef up our volunteers on the south side of town.
Commissioner, do you want anything?
Yeah, I was with Mr. DRC last week, and we went over another option we're looking at with a different town to come in and cover the south side of town. So hopefully we'll have an answer for everybody by next week as far as if this will work.
And regarding Earl, we had the captain of the Earl Naval Base out in Holmdel maybe 5 weeks ago, and they're 100% committed to, they respond to every structure fire in Holmdel, no matter what, and they are on staff, so they go right from the department, and I think I said last week, sometimes I hear from our fire chief that they're at the scene sometimes as quick as we are on the scene with ours, so they respond to everything. That's an agreement that's been in place, it's remaining in place. So regarding recruitment, the fire department is constantly recruiting. You'll see periodically people coming on, being added to the agenda for approved firefighters in the town. And regarding fire, we had a meeting, I guess about a week ago. They're going to have the grand open house of the new firehouse and new fire truck for the public to come and see on Saturday, April 30th at the new firehouse, which is, I guess, 3 doors down here from Town Hall. So, and they're going to use that as a recruitment event as well. They're going to have a table set up so people come in, they want to see the firehouse, and they actually believe that the enhancements that the town has made in infrastructure and the equipment will actually attract more volunteers that want to get involved in the fire company. So we'll stay tuned on that and look forward to them running their open house. And I could tell you that it's going to be on their own. They fundraise for it. They're going to be providing food and soft drinks for free for anybody who comes out to the open house on that day, and have a band come out. They really want to make it a nice venue for people to come and see what they're really proud of with this new firehouse, and obviously the new fire truck, which they just put into service. So, Steve, thank you for that question. Sorry, you want to come up?
Chris Damari, Seven Oaks. Last summer, when Councilor Collins answered how to be nominated to become a very powerful charter study commissioner, an opportunity to change Holmdel's local township of government of 150 years, he could have simply answered, all Holmdel residents eligible required only 100 signatures on a petition by September 1st. He chose to say, in accordance with the Faulkner Act. Holmdel residents feel left in the dark. If Dr. Blumenthal did not ask this question, how was the Township Committee even planning on telling the residents? We still have yet to find any public correspondence related to the creation of this Charter Study Commission. Mayor Bontempo and Deputy Mayor Santana are 2 Holmdel leaders. You both had 2 major responsibilities that have a high degree of conflict. Most importantly, to inform and help educate the Holmdel residents on this charter study, putting Holmdel residents first, and also apparently responsible for making sure you handpicked commissioners were voted in after seeing your family signed all 5 commissioners' petitions, the 5 that ran unopposed. We know exactly why Holmdel residents were left in the dark. Here's the campaign from September 21 from Mayor Bontempo campaigning in support of the charter study after the commissioners were locked in. You promised us that they will, 1, put Holmdel's interest first, ahead of any personal and political agenda. This could not be further from the truth from what we see thus far in this process. The more we learn, there's an incredible amount of political baggage tied to this charter study, and clearly they are putting all of their agendas first. Holmdel residents are not even being considered. Frankly, it's a disgrace. 2, lead an open and transparent process. This one is comical. And I see 3 of the commissioners here tonight because they continue to hide on a Zoom call. And Chairman Kin G creates one-sided biased narratives promoting change instead of writing about the fierce opposition voiced by many of the residents on their show. Holmdel residents are continuing to be misled. And 3, give the most opportunity for Holmdel residents to direct our local governance. The Holmdel residents do not even have a seat at this table. Majority have no clue what's going on. There is no dialogue. You misled the Holmdel residents with this. The charter study is definitely not about Holmdel or the residents. People love Holmdel. It's one of the most desirable places to live, and our township form of government has preserved this. Questions for the mayor moving forward. 1, why is it taking so long for our leaders to utilize the many direct communication channels to be informing and educating Holmdel residents? What is transpiring regarding something as epic as changing our local government structure? We've received no correspondence from you, Mayor. 2, when recommendations are made, how do you plan to hold meetings and discuss with residents, as the Faulkner Act states, the widest public dialogue possible there? There's been none thus far. What plans do you have to put the Holmdel residents first and provide us with all the necessary information
Your time is
required
up, sir.
so that we can make the best decisions for our family
Thank you.
and for Holmdel?
Thank you. So the process was laid out by the legislature. We're following the law in how to potentially allow Holmdel residents to directly elect their mayor. I didn't create the process. I'm following it. And I actually wasn't the first person to come up with the idea, but I'm the one who decided to put it forth because after hearing from people that came up meetings over the years that wanted to have the ability to directly elect the mayor. And the process is that the formation of a charter study commission to study it. I don't know what exactly their recommendation is going to be when they're finished with their recommendation sometime later this year. But whatever it is, if it's for the direct elected mayor, I'm going to support it. If it's not for direct elected mayor, I'm not going to support it. So I have not made my decision on what I'm supporting because I haven't seen the decision yet. But there's a process put in place by the legislature. If you don't like the process, call your legislator. Tell them to change it. I can't do that. I can only go by what the law says. And the counselor advised me that the only way I can allow the Holmdel residents to decide, I can allow the Holmdel residents to decide is to follow this process. And they vote on it. They vote on it twice. They vote, 1, to allow the ability for a charter study to go into play, and 2, to vote on what the charter study's recommendation is if they agree with it. Ultimately, the township committee has no additional insight or input besides what we did already. We have no other involvement in this, except what we're going to hear is what you're going to hear. We're going to hear it when you're going to hear it. And then the residents will decide what they want to do. And there'll be people for it. I'm sure there'll be people against it. I don't know. I don't know what it's going to be yet. So I'm not going to speculate. I'm going to wait and see. And I'm going to reserve my decision until I see what their recommendation is. That's simple. Anybody else in the public? Miss?
Tony Brescia, 8 Squire Court. This question, this gentleman just really upset me. I have the municipal question from when we got the voting certificate, and it reads like this. Township of Holmdel, municipal question. Shall a charter study commission be elected to study the charter of the Township of Holmdel and to consider a new charter or improvements in the present charter and to make recommendations thereon? That's the question. I voted for this. I have that ability to vote for it. All I said was, yes, let's form a charter study. The explanatory statement says that if the Charter Study Commission recommends a change in the form of Holmdel's government, the recommendation would be submitted to Holmdel voters in a public question at a future election. I went to the bakery the other day, and somebody approached me asking me about what is going on with this question. I says, it's very simple. It's what you voted for. All we did was form a commission, and all we're saying is once they come up with their findings, it's going to be presented to the voters of Holmdel again, and we say yes or we say no. I don't understand what all the confusion is about. All we said was, let's put it out to us, let us vote on it. And am I a supporter of this? Absolutely. I have been in this town for 35 years. I have seen so much. I went to see The Music Man. Why bother spending $270 when I could come to a Holmdel Township Committee meeting and enjoy it more? Because it is like The Music Man. But anyway, that's all I wanted to say. But thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. And it kind of clarified it. It's the public, the citizens of this town are going to decide what they want to do. I am not, the Township Committee is not. I can vote in it, but that's all I could do. I have one vote like anybody else has. Anybody else in the public? Yes, sir.
Jay Yanello, 18 Ladwood Drive. As someone who, as I've said many times, has been around and begrudgingly witnessed what has took place in this town under the existing framework and the challenges for people to sometimes get elected when they're on, curiously, column 5, 7, because someone in Monmouth County picks those columns apparently randomly. I am in awe at the passion and fury and terms and epic used. And when people are coming up here so jilted and hell-bent on this subject, where were these people and their passion when a 2-point whatever million turf field was being stuck in bills payable with paper and staples? Where were they when all of these other things went down? Where were they when an Olympic park was being proposed? An equivalent of an Olympic park was being proposed on Main Street in Holmdel. Where was the fury, passion? I find it extremely curious and unsettling. If you want to get up here and calmly discuss your concerns and the pros and cons to what may be proposed, let's hear it. I want to hear the other sides. But let's see what this commission comes up with. As I've said before, these are some great people on there. These are not dirt bags. Let's see what they come up with, and let's see what the town people want. Something's not right here. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else in the public? Seeing none, I'll close public comment. The motion.
Move.
Second.
Good night, everybody. Thanks for coming out.